Now, China's been accused of separating Uighur children from their families and keeping them in state-run orphanages while their parents are detained or flee abroad. The UN says at least 1 million people from the Chinese minority are being held in re-education camps. But Beijing rejects the claim, saying the Uyghurs are attending vocational training centres aimed at giving them new skills.
Kelbana lives in exile. She's Uighur, a mainly Muslim ethnic minority from Xinjiang in northwest China. She fled China 3 years ago as the Communist Party began a campaign of repression. Her husband was meant to follow her here to Istanbul with her other children, but he was sent to prison on terrorism charges. She lost all contact with her family. Then, one day in December last year, she finally saw a glimpse of her daughter on Chinese social media. This is Aisha. She would now be 6 years old. Several Uyghurs we spoke to told us they believe that when their family members have been detained in Xinjiang, their children were put into state-run orphanages and so-called kindergartens. Kelbana asked us to look for her children. She cannot travel to China for fear of being detained. But we could, and so we flew to Xinjiang. As soon as we were out of the airport, we were followed by at least 4 cars. It was the same on foot. Xinjiang is a digital surveillance state with cameras everywhere. It's the result of an intense crackdown by the Communist Party. Starting in 2017, the first reports of a network of detention centres began to emerge. The UN estimates around 1 million minorities have been swept into re-education and detention camps. For a long time, China denied the detention centres even existed. Then it changed tack. They did exist, but they weren't camps. Instead, the Chinese authorities said they were vocational training centres where Uyghurs could learn the language and law of China, necessary to eradicate terrorism and extremism. We started looking for Aisha here in Hotan, a city of around 300,000 people in southwest Xinjiang. We'd identified 14 possible kindergartens where she might be. One by one, we went through them. Aisha Abdurrahman. And everyone told us they'd never seen Aisha. We asked the Chinese Foreign Ministry for comment. They did not respond. There are no answers here in Xinjiang. The Chinese state makes sure of that. Tom Cheshire, Sky News, Xinjiang.